You are now tapped into the Corrected Felon podcast with your host Inspiretheblocc, aka the Lone Wolf on the Middle Passage Media Network.
What up, though? And welcome to the Corrected Felon podcast with your host, me, Inspiretheblocc, aka the Triple OG, aka the Lone Wolf, or simply to my friends and family as Corey. First, I want to thank everybody for tapping in with your boy on this Thanksgiving. I'm not really too fond of the actual holiday of Thanksgiving, but I love the spirit of coming together with family. This is why I chose to be here in Charlotte, North Carolina with my family, because we do it in the spirit of, not necessarily the definition of the meaning of Thanksgiving. So I want to thank everybody for tapping in on Thanksgiving. I pray that everybody's out there having a wonderful time with their families. Also, too, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my Go Lions. Detroit Lions, y'all take care of that business. Whoop on Green Bay. Let's win this division and bring a Super Bowl to Detroit. For those in viewing land, you can see that I'm rocked all the way up in my Detroit gear. And listen, land, you already know what time it is. But once again, I want to thank everybody for tapping in with your boy. Please hit that subscribe button, that like, and that share, and help your boy get to the business. I won't be long on here today because once again, I said it's Thanksgiving. And so people are, with their families or enjoying their time. Plus, I want to get back to mine. But I want to address something that I don't believe was really controversial, but in society, we make everything controversial because we're so sensitive. Nobody can have an opinion about nothing without somebody feeling offended. And in this case, the person or people that's offended is formerly incarcerated individuals. Mike Epps says something recently on a podcast, and I believe Jim Jones was hosting it, where he said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, you can go find it, plus
those are the wrong journeys to celebrate, young men. There's no reward for coming home after 30 years. You don't get no care package. You are a failure. Get your out here and help these kids. Now, pay that back forward. You see what I'm saying? That's the reward. I'm going
to pop the video up in here. Well, he made a comment not celebrating the journey of people coming home from prison. And once again, like I said, people, formerly incarcerated people, were offended, especially Blueface. Now, if you're familiar with hip hop, if you listen to hip hop, then you know Blueface just got home from prison, from spending a couple years. I'm not a fan of his music. Can't name you really one song, but I don't even want to address Blueface's comments because somebody like Blueface, to me, he is a rapper who became a street guy when he was a rapper and ended up in prison. So them kind of people, and they knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to me has no significance because you move backwards. Now, I'd rather listen to somebody or take advice or the constructive criticism of somebody who made the mistake and then they're living the right way now, not the other way around. Because people nowadays, we hype up anything. And in this case here, Mike Epps made the comment saying, once again, that we shouldn't celebrate people coming home from prison. Now, if you're familiar with me and you've been following my journey, you've been a subscriber, you somebody that knows me, then you know that I'm a formerly incarcerated individual myself. I did over 17 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. I got locked up at 17. I didn't get out till I was 35 years old. And if you follow my work, then you know I fight passionately for the right to exist of formerly incarcerated people or people with felony convictions or juveniles who once got in trouble with the law. Now that they're an adults, I believe that they all should have a fair shake at this thing called life, a free fair shake without restraints or things thrown in their path that will block them from being successful. Now, once again, like I said, I've been to prison. Not proud of it by far. It's the stain on my history that I hate the most of going to prison, because even in 2025, I'm still having a hard time existing in society because of the restraints that my felony conviction has over my life. It's a black cloud that's over my head that I can't shake. It messes with me in employment. It messes with me with housing. It messes with me exercising my Second Amendment right. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on how having a felony conviction is a curse. So once again, I am not proud of doing time in prison. And when Mike Epps said that we should not celebrate, or young men should not be looking to that as a celebratory thing when they get home from prison, I agree 100% with Mike Epps. Yes, I do. And once again, I am a formerly incarcerated person. I've been to prison. You may ask, well, why shouldn't we acknowledge or celebrate the ideal of somebody getting out of prison, especially somebody that did 20, 30 years in prison? Well, here's my thing. Okay. For one, the circumstances vary on why a person go to prison. I will agree with that. I don't necessarily judge a person based off their conviction because the circumstances varies in every case, right? A person can do 20, 30 years in prison for a murder that he really didn't mean to commit. They might have punched the guy fell, he hit his head, the guy died. The circumstance, once again, it's all about the circumstances. But for the average person that goes to prison, including myself, even at 17 years old, we were losers, man. Why in the hell is that so hard to comprehend or understand? With the selective few people and most people today, especially during the time I was coming up, I don't remember a lot of political advocate individuals out there other than Minister Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, and a few. We don't no longer live in the days where people just go to prison because of your activism politically, right? I mean, we see that with Trump trying to lock some people up, but overall, we don't do that no more because that spirit of those movements are no longer in existence in America today, right? The ideal of a black leader popping up because of how degenerate the black mind has went, like we can't even identify or recognize people like that. So, we don't have people going to prison really no more for their political beliefs. Usually the average young person, especially I'm talking to black men, I don't know nothing about no other culture or none of that. I'm gonna speak directly to black men. The average young black man, they go to prison. You go to prison for something you fucking did to end up in prison. Like I did. I wasn't totally guilty of the crime that I actually was charged for, but the environment in which I lived in led me to end up in prison. I was going one way or another. Maybe not at the time that I originally went in 95, but who knows? In 2000, I probably would have went. 1998, I probably would have went because of the lifestyle in which I was living. So if I put myself in a position in life to where I set myself up to lose, when I come out of that transition of life, why should we celebrate that? I don't get it twisted. Like I said, you can acknowledge somebody coming home from prison, but it's the end part that I think that most people don't get a hold to. And it was the part that Mike Epps said when he said that they need to come home and focus on them kids. They really do need to focus on those kids because it's the example that we setting with these children, especially us that's formerly incarcerated people, that they gonna follow that path. They look to that. Especially the shit I see nowadays on social media when they come to prison. It's almost like they didn't make prison fun. I seen guys in there having relay races in the day room. I mean, you see the massive amounts of phones and all this other kind of shit. That shit wasn't in the Michigan Department of Corrections when I was there. The lifestyle that they live now nowadays. Like it was prison. You was stressed. You was depressed. You wanted to go home. It didn't look fun. It was not fun. And so therefore, when Mike Epps said that, a lot of people got upset, which in turn caused Mike Epps to do a video apologizing for his remarks regarding formerly incarcerated people. Like, just think about that, man. Just think how silly the ideal is that people that went to prison, y'all offended? Or we supposed to be offended because Mike Epps said that we shouldn't be celebrated coming home from prison? Man, just think about that for a second. Think how fucked up we are as a society where a group of people, especially I'm pretty sure a lot of people that's formerly incarcerated felt like Mike Epps said some bullshit. But the idea that you're upset because Mike Epps said that people should not be celebrated coming home from prison lets you know the mind and heart of our society. Because once again, you shouldn't be celebrated. You made that choice to go to prison. You made that choice to actually really do the time that you did, because once you get in that system, you don't have a choice on how it goes. You're the defendant. You're not the one in that courtroom who has the hand or the deck. You don't. You got the losing deck. So once again, man, like I said, I'm not going to make this long. I just wanted to do something because I just felt in my heart and my spirit, Mike Epps, you didn't have to make no apology video. Don't nobody give a damn about what these rappers are talking about that went to prison. We don't. Who's the average person like myself who are ghosts in our society with felony convictions? Man, nobody give a damn what no Blueface talking about. We don't. Right? And I'm once again talking directly to formerly incarcerated people. Understand the last part of what he said in the interview or the clip of the interview, that you need to come home and work with these children. That's what I've been doing. This has been my mission since I've been out of prison, to come home and work with these babies, because I don't want them to think that this ideal of going to prison is a good thing. I want them to always understand and know, man, that's a fucked up reality. And that's something that you should avoid at all costs. But once again, don't put yourself in a predicament to where you go that way. Or you in a situation where you send somebody else that way by telling on them. The streets is dead. There is no reward in that. Mike Epps was right. There is no reward. There is no reward for being a loser in life and going to prison, man. How hard is that to understand? Once again, like I said, I'm going to reiterate, people are not going to prison for their political beliefs, especially in the black community. You YNs is tearing some shit up. You YNs is acting like savages. So if you kill somebody, you know, you do a drive-by and hit the 7-year-old baby and then go do 30 years, luckily, why would you want to come home and be celebrated for that? Or you done looking for your op, spent the block, hit the old lady that had nothing to do with your beef. You went and did 20 to 30 years in prison. Why would you want to come home and be celebrated for that? If you a child molester, why should you have a party when you get home? If you're a robber who can't get a job on his own, but decides you want to just take from people and you do 20, 30 years, why you need to be celebrated? Huh? Why you need a party? Come home and do the right thing. Reward yourself by coming back into society and doing the right thing. Quit giving these false images to our youth and making wrongdoing fair sin. We got to stop that, because once again, prison is not a place you go to like you do college or the military that serves a real purpose in life, right? It's one that's going to psychologically mess with you. If you part of the week, physically is going to fuck with you. Yeah, you're going to have some problems if you don't have heart to defend yourself and stand up in the face of adversity, because something is going to come your way in prison. So once again, man, we got to stop this shit. Mike Epps, man, retract your apology and stick with the last part and pound that part there. Quit allowing people to take certain little sound bites and drown it out by really the goods you said in the end of that clip about actually coming home and being a better example to these children. So Mike Epps, I support everything you said. I don't support the apology. I don't. I'm rocking with the initial statement. And I support you as a formerly incarcerated person that no, there's no parties getting out of prison. It shouldn't be, right? There's no celebratory events of getting out of prison. People that are formerly incarcerated, you should get out and be looking to do the right thing instead of people bigging you up for really losing in life. Because that's actually what we all did. I was a loser, and I don't give a damn who I know. If you went to prison, and I know you went to prison, you was a loser too. You wasn't even in the game. Now we in the game. We on the court. The court is freedom. The court is life. This is where everything count at. In prison, no shit count. You miss too much. So we on the court now. For all those that are listening to me or watching me, formerly incarcerated people, we on the court now. If you're free, and let's do the real thing, and that's being a better example to these young people who once followed us, after us giving them an example of what a fucked up person is in life. They go to prison. So once again, I want to thank everybody for tapping in. Make sure y'all please subscribe, like, comment, and share the Correct the Felon podcast. Mike Epps, I'm on your side. Fuck what they talking about. If you need a voice or a spokesperson to represent really what you said, hit me up. I'll work with you, and I'll help you navigate that and actually really do some good in this world. But once again, make sure y'all please subscribe, like, comment. And I thank everybody for tapping into the Correct the Felon podcast. And I pray everybody that they have a blessed day on purpose. And once again, go Detroit Lions.